The world is an amazing place. It's beautiful, but it has some issues. Take poverty, for instance. It's been around forever and much has been attempted to try and alleviate it. In the 1950s, we used Air Force bombers to drop helpful things from the sky, in part because of our craving for immediate and easy fixes. For years, we thought taking children out of their communities and placing them into orphanages and hostels was the way to go. But too often, all we did was leave a legacy of pain and separation. Putting undue emphasis on helping kids one at a time gave us great fridge photos, but what of the other kids left behind? We had Live Aid held by rock stars and various groups heading overseas to paint murals and build buildings. So where are we now? Is poverty still an issue? Well, unfortunately, yes. We still have over 2.5 billion people living on less than $2 a day. Women are still oppressed and kids are dying before they are 5. Education is still for the privileged and safe drinking water is still a dream for millions upon millions of people worldwide. So that all sounds fairly hopeless. But it's not all doom and gloom. Many are now looking beyond just treating the symptoms of poverty by way of addressing the underlying causes, leading to real change in some very remote settings. Take the Bitan area of West Timor, near the East Timor border. Here some 43% of the population is living below the poverty line, and the majority of its population are remote area farmers with little access to education, health and other opportunities. But despite the hardship and sense of despair, there is reason for optimism. Apna and Betty raised their 2 daughters in a house set on flood-prone land, no larger than a typical Australian lounge room. For many years, the family survived on Apna's income as a motorbike taxi driver, earning less than $2 for a 12-hour day. With some 75% of their income spent on food, they have been unable to make any provisions for healthcare. The children attend school, but in order to pay for the school fees, their 12-year-old daughter sells snacks before school. Many families in the area withdraw their children from school once they reach working age, and without an improved livelihood, Apna and Betty face the same prospect. Back in the day, too often we responded by taking a child from the family and placing it in an institution. Problem here is there's no change for the local community and the family's situation remains the same. It is the outsider, however well-meaning, who ends up making the calls, deciding what is best from a distance. There's little or no engagement with the community as to what they want, what they could do themselves. We've found the best approach is ideas generated from the ground, creative solutions from within. Uniting World has a long-standing partnership with the Evangelical Christian Church in Timor, and now its microfinance arm TLM. A key program is cattle fattening, where a TLM farm prepares young calves to be given to the members of local village community groups. These locally led groups work together to help each other, share insights on cattle farming and seek the best possible outcomes. Apna and Betty and the other members of their local village community group were provided with small cows to fatten. With regular feeding, the cows will soon be ready for market. The profits of the sale will enable the family to cover essential education costs for the coming year, but also provide an opportunity for them as part of the community group to acquire a second loan. Whilst external expertise is sought and applied, through the local group structure, Apna and Betty are finding locally relevant and lasting solutions. Annika and Amar come from a village some 20 minutes from Bitan. A few years ago, as conflict came to their home village in East Timor, they came to West Timor as refugees and relied on the support of neighbours and family for food and housing. Too often in such situations, we may have set up a welfare program so they get a small amount of money to keep them going. Or we put cans of food in boxes and ship them over, again and again and again. The thing is, Annika could cook herself. The family don't need our food. Annika, her family and community have untapped skills, creativity and a desire to initiate and follow through on their own solutions. Using recipes passed on from her mother, Annika began to make snacks in her home to sell at the local market. It was not on a scale to lift her family out of poverty, but her drive was noticed by a TLM field officer, and with her husband, Annika was invited to join a community group connected to the TLM microfinance program. She and the other members of her community group received loans to begin their businesses. Now, Annika has a viable and expanding enterprise that supplies her home-cooked snacks to more and more market stalls in her community. From living on less than $1 a day to earning up to $10 a day, this is one family with our support that has moved off the poverty line and now has the means to educate their 3 children and provide for their health. They are also helping others in their community to innovate and work together to build a better future. Yunes is 49 years old and married with 2 children. At his home, he supports 4 other relatives. For many years, he has struggled to provide for his family using his woodworking skills, earning just a few dollars per day. 2 years ago, he became part of a TLM community group and received his first loan of just over $1,000. With many people liking the quality of his work, and with an increased output of furniture using improved materials, he has tripled his income and is confident of his ability to cover basic health and educational expenses for his family. No offence to work parties, but here is a building project that fosters local enterprise and passes on tried and tested skills and methods in carpentry to others today and the next day and the one after that. So when it comes to enabling lasting solutions to poverty, there are approaches that are ineffective. But in West Timor, we see an approach to development that is creating lasting change. When development involves local initiative, implementation and ownership, and also people working together to understand the root causes of the poverty they are experiencing, they can discover ways that, given essential opportunities and support, they can lift themselves out of poverty. Now that's good development.